Hey, what's up guys? And I told you before that I'm not cancelling any more what ifs on this channel. Except for the last ones that I cancelled, there's gonna be no more cancellation. So yeah, here is one of the new ones that's gonna go to the end. Given the fact that I've cancelled two others, I might as well fill this space. I've already write out the listing for them, so there's nothing to worry about. So this is basically what if Naruto was made from the Mokuton cells with all of the Kage's DNA. Yes guys, as you can hear from the title, he will be a special individual. He's gonna be created from the Mokuton cells and all the Kages of Konoha cells and a few other powerful ninjas. Just sit back, relax, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And also don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Links will be down in the description. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into this, shall we? Begin now, guys. For his whole life, which has just been 4 years now. For the earlier years, he didn't have the mindset to truly understand anything around him. However, what he knew, the most consistent person in his life, was that man. He had dark hair, pale skin, and golden eyes. He was the most consistent person in his entire life. There had been others, people that were just like him. They were the same age, but most of them never came back after they went away. The man would come by every so often. There were others there. However, their faces were covered and they were always outside. They never interacted with him. The man left behind books and told him to read and told him to try to grow his knowledge and his understanding. He only showed him once what the concept of reading was. However, he was smart. That is what the man said, and he was easily able to understand things. It took him a while because the man just showed him once for a good 10 minutes. After that, he was able to start to read the books and to understand them. That is when he learned that people have names. He never knew that. He never knew the difference between a male and a female either. It was after he read in the books he found out that he was a boy. He was a child, so he was a boy. When he grew older, he would be a man. He asked his visitor his name. However, the man told him that he didn't have a name. However, he was represented by the number. His number. He was confused about that. He didn't know what that meant. But the man called him 13. 13. That always confused him till this day. Not much change after that. The man had told him that he was 4 years old. That was his age. He never saw any of the other kids. Now that he knew about the naming process, he had heard the man call a few of the other kids, 10, 11, and 12. And he was 13. He was the last one here. The man came by rarely. The two guards outside, they never left their posts. They never spoke to him. That is when it happened. The man was here, checking up on him. He was also drawing blood and testing him. The man ran several tests on him whenever he was here. Some of them were painful, some of them weren't so bad, but he did not mind it. Maybe this was his concept of living. Majority of the books that he got, many people live different life. Perhaps that is how they live. And this was his concept of living until it was over. That is what he believed for the longest time until there was chaos, loud sounds. He got to his feet as the man threw him back to get back towards his spot. He then rushed outside. He waited there for what seemed to be hours. In reality, though, it was just a couple of minutes. He was feeling an unusual feeling. The door busted open, and he saw someone. Someone new that he never saw before. His skin wasn't as pale as the other man that he was used to. However, there were marks in his face, wrinkles. He was clad in a black clothing with a strange helmet over his head with two flaps coming down towards his ears. He had a strange staff in his hand that he seemed to have used to burst down the door. He stood there in surprise. The child backed away, huddling in the corner. He was confused, not understanding. The old man raised his hand, stopping the people behind him, telling them to stay outside. The old man then proceeded inside as he rests his staff against the wall. The child looked on curiously as the staff turned into a creature. It was not human, but it had a human build, and it stood like a human as well, but it was definitely not human. He did not know what it was. He'd never seen or heard of anything like that before. Hiruzen Sarutobi, former Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, stepped forward as he approached the child in a calm manner, raising both of his hands. "It's alright, young one," he said. "You're safe now. No one is gonna hurt you," he said, as he held his hand out, a smile on his face. The child raised a curious eyebrow before he slowly approached as he looked at the hand, up and down. He then reached out and took it as he started to shake the hand, something that he read. Hiruzen smiled at him. Time skip. Orochimaru was forced to flee the village in a haste earlier than he would have ever expected. The old man caught on to what he was doing, and Orochimaru knew that if Minato got involved, there was a chance that he would have never left the village alive. He fled for his life. After his more violent research was made public, and at the end of the day, he had to run, leaving behind what he think was going to be one of his most greatest breakthrough that he ever had. The Sannin was very pissed off. However, he could not afford to make a move. Not yet, at least. Meanwhile, that was going on. Hiruzen Sarutobi stood in front of a glass window. To his right was none other than Minato Namikaze, the current leader of the village. A doctor walked up to the both of them. He was holding a file in his hand. Inside of the room was that boy. His description was rather odd. He had blonde hair, and at the end of each of his blonde spikes, it was white like snow. Yes, his hair was truly unusual. As for his eyes, they were red like blood. He was dressed in a white t-shirt and white shorts. He was currently reading a book to occupy his time while the others talk. Minato turned to face the doctor. "Dr. Yamamoto." "What is wrong?" Hiruzen said, as he saw the man looking rather baffled. I can't explain it," Yamamoto said, looking towards the both of them. "My tests on the previous boy that was brought in earlier, there was no relation that he shared with anyone in Konoha after placing his DNA inside of the system. This boy, 13, that is what he said his name was not the only one that was found. There was another kid, a brown-haired kid. He was found in a tube. When they released him, he was not conscious, so he was brought to the hospital for a checkup. As for this boy, he was found awake, inside, not in a tube. There were several other tubes, but those ones did not make it. They all had numbers on the back of their hands, from 1 straight to 12. And this boy inside was 13. The other brown hair boy that was found in the tube, he was isolated from the others. Hiruzen was not sure if he was a part of a different experiment. That must be the case because he was not marked with a number unlike these ones. Back to what Yamamoto was saying. They were unable to find any family relation after placing that older boy inside of the program to test if his DNA matched any inside of Konoha. However, when they did it for this one, the machine was unable to respond at first. That is when Dr. Yamamoto did further investigation and found out something unusual. This boy doesn't have a main DNA makeup. He has several. Something that shouldn't be humanly possible. Doing some more further investigation after all, it's been over 24 hours. Yamamoto was able to find something that shocked him to his very core. He handed the file over towards both of them. Minato blinked in shock as he snapped his gaze towards the boy inside, who was calmly reading. He looked up towards the man. How is this possible? He said. It shouldn't be, Yamamoto said. That boy in there, I do not believe that he was conceived in a normal manner. I believe, with all the evidence, that he was synthetically created. I'm not sure how Orochimaru was able to pull this off. But that boy, he's special, Yamamoto said, gazing toward the child inside. But even if that is the case, this report, it doesn't make sense, said Minato. For a normal child, yes, it would not. However, given the way he was created, which I did not know was medically possible, I would say it does make sense. After all, we have the living proof right in front of us. Time skip. Kushina Uzumaki, wife of Minato Namikaze, was surprised to what she just heard from her husband. Really? She said in shock. And that's him? Minato nodded. They glanced forward. There he sat, reading rather calmly. He's went through 3 books since he's been here. At first, Minato had something that was good for his level, given that he was just a child, but he went through it so quickly. Minato realized that he wanted something more advanced. He was a polite, smart child. However, the revelation, Minato was not sure how to feel about it. That child in there had his DNA. Yes, Orochimaru had gathered his and all the other Kage's DNA. Minato DNA was in the system. That was for sure. The third was in the system as well. The first and second though, well, theirs were harder to get, but somehow the Sannin got his hands on them. Minato was not sure how to feel about that. Yet the child did not deserve anything to happen to him for that. It was not his fault that he was born this way or created this way. But that was not the most shocking part. It was how the boy makeup and insides were built. You had to think of him more like a tail beast. After extensive study, the tail beasts seemed to be mass of chakra come together with sentience. But this boy, unlike them, he had organs. He had a heart, kidney, all sorts of things that made him seem perfectly 100% human, but at the same time, he was not. His whole being was made up from the Mokuton cells that were gathered from Hoshirama Senju. The things that Orochimaru has gathered was truly baffling. Orochimaru was somehow able to supercharge Hoshirama cells, the Mokuton DNA, to comprise it of this boy's body. He was basically created from the cells of the Mokuton and infused with all the Kage's DNA. But there was more. Orochimaru had completely wiped any trace of his DNA out of the system, so they could not tell if Orochimaru's DNA was inside of him. However, there were several others that they had no accountability for. Several others that was not in this village. You could tell the difference between a civilian DNA and a ninja DNA. The ninja DNA had saturated chakra conserving all around it. Because of how powerful one might be in their prime, or for different factors of their makeup build. And this boy had multiple, and all of them were from someone powerful. They could tell after extracting several of these DNA out of the boy's system. It should not even be possible to have so much, yet the child was not born as a normal child would. Orochimaru had did some sick twisted things to bring this boy to reality. They found the other tubes. All of the others did not make it. This was the 13th try, and something about him was different from the others. Orochimaru was somehow able to stabilize the cells, which Dr. Yamamoto never thought was possible. But the truly scary part about this was, if that was the case, Orochimaru could build himself an entire army of super soldiers at his beck and call. And that was a truly frightening thought. They had to find him and stop him before he moved on with his plans. Otherwise, it wouldn't just be terrible for them, but for everyone across the elemental nation. Meanwhile, "Wait, what are you doing?" said Minato. He seemed lonely, just by himself like that. "I'm gonna go talk to him," said Kushina. "It's not like he's dangerous or anything, right?" "Well, no, but..." "Then okay," she said, as she opened the door. Minato sighed. His wife had came to see what was taking him so long. The Anvu had alerted her, and he told the Anvu to bring her down here. The reason why he told her about this was, the doctor believed that whatever Orochimaru did, maybe he did not fully understand. Because Dr. Yamamoto tried to isolate the gene that was able to stabilize the boy's cells, but he couldn't find it. So maybe Orochimaru did something out of his understanding, and this boy creation was just special. If that was the case, he must be kept protected at all times, because there is a chance that Orochimaru might return to try and take him, and Minato couldn't afford for that to happen, and he was thinking of taking the boy with him. Yes, it was strange to know that his DNA was inside of the boy, and he wasn't his son, or anyone related to him. But Minato didn't know why he felt he needed to do something to make sure this boy is kept safe. The child was so innocent. He did not deserve anything that Orochimaru was plotting to do to him. Minato had saw the files. He saw the testing programs. The boy had been through so much pain. From he was a baby starting up, the things that Orochimaru had did with his testing. And Minato felt the urge to save this child. Another reason was part of his own problem that they were having. They were actually trying to start a family. However, so far they've not had any luck. He glanced up as he saw Kushina enter the room. Meanwhile, 13 stopped what he was reading as he glanced up towards the red-haired woman that entered the room. She was smiling at him. She seemed kind. He could tell. She walked over towards him. "So, what are you reading?" she asked. "Tales of a Gutsy Ninja," he said to her. Kushina smiled here and that. That was the only book that she appreciated Jiraiya for writing. The others were pure smut. She read it before herself. "Good, isn't it?" she asked. He nodded his head. "Yes, I like the main protagonist," he said to her. Kushina smiled. "For someone so young, you speak with these large, intelligent words. I can just tell. You're a smart one, aren't you?" she said to him. "Well, I have been told that I have rather great intelligence." "Yes, you do," she said, as she placed her hand in his hair. "So soft," she said to him. Naruto looked down, as Kushina could tell that something was on his mind. "Is there something you want to tell me?" she asked him. He nodded his head. "Go ahead," she said. "What's your name?" he asked her. "My name? Oh, I'm Kushina Uzumaki," she said. "And they said that you are 13, correct?" He looked down. "What's wrong?" she asked. Well, he poked his fingers together. Everyone else has an actual name. Mine is just a number. And I don't like you that much. Well, how about we change it, she said. The boy blinked. We can do that? Of course, she said to him. As she looked him over, an idea popped in her head. How about Naruto, the protagonist in that story? That's his name. It would fit you quite well. A little maelstrom, she said to him, with a smile. He smiled up at her. His body reacted to her personality, her kindness, and he smiled. Something that he was not used to. He felt this overwhelming feeling. From what he has read, he wondered if this was happiness. They spent the next few minutes talking to one another. Finally, Kushina came back out. Minato had waited patiently. You're right, she said to him. He's so nice and sweet. As she clenched her fists, I really want to punch that damn Sanin in his face for what he did to this poor, nice little boy, she said. Look at him. He don't deserve any of that pain. He's just an innocent child. Oh, and from now on, his name is Naruto, she said. Naruto? Well, he liked the main character in the book that Jiraiya wrote. And he did not like his name 13, so we changed it. Minato saw a twinkle in her eye as he looked at her. What are you thinking, he asked. Well, I was wondering. Could we bring him home, she said to him. Time skip. As Naruto waited there, he was still reading his book. He was finding it rather enjoyable. That is when she came back. The sweet lady, Kushina Uzumaki. She was smiling happily. He could feel the happiness radiating off of her. She came inside. I have some news, she said. How would you like to come home with me? What do you mean, he said, confused. Well, I was talking to the others, and I brought up the idea of adopting you, for you to become my son. He looked at her as he tilted his head. You mean you want to be my mom? She nodded her head as he looked at her. I read this book, and it said a mother take care of their children and show them unconditional love and keep them safe and protected. You want to do that for me? She nodded once again. Why? Why would you do that for me? I don't understand. She rested a hand on his cheek. The world has been harsh enough to you. You don't deserve to be alone, she said. That is why I am stepping in to take care of you. Really? He said to her. She nodded once more. His body moved on its own as he found himself hugging her. He pulled back though as he wondered if that was inappropriate. It's alright, she said, as she pulled him back in. He felt this strange sensation, much more powerful than the other one, resonating right in his heart. This deep feeling, this connection. The door opened once again as a blonde man from before stepped inside, as Minato smiled down towards the boy. Time skip. A month went by since Orochimaru's desertion from the village. At the moment, the Sannin was situated in a lab, away from the elemental nation. The Sannin was angry. He broke all the beakers on the table. He destroyed the tube of liquid. He flipped the table and slammed it into the wall. The man was furious. Since the death of Nawaki, which was Tsunade's brother, Orochimaru's desire for immortality had severely increased. He spent every waking moment thinking of gaining true immortality, to be able to traverse the ages with knowledge, composed of all generations. He was close. Orochimaru needed two things for his immortality to go through. As his body would wither over time, would get weakened over time, he didn't want that. He wanted the true immortality that would keep him refreshed, would keep him everlasting. So Orochimaru decided to build, rather than finding, he decided to build a perfect host. He spent numerous time in his lab in Konoha. All the test subjects from 1 to 13, those were the ones that were there. However, the numbers were in the hundreds. Those 13 had the most result because those 13 actually wake up, other than the rest of the 80 plus that he went through. Those 13 woke up. However, time after time, each of their system failed, their insides getting weaker and weaker until they eventually collapsed and fell. Except for one, number 13. Orochimaru was ecstatic when the child passed 1 month, and then more, and then a year, and then another. He was now 4 years old. All of his synapses were shooting perfectly. His body was regulating and processing perfectly. Orochimaru finally found the perfect vessel. He was unable to isolate what made this one so different. He tried to find it, the link that the others didn't have. He just needed more time. However, the old man caught on to his affair. The old man caught on to the missing children that has been going missing within the village. And the damn wretched old man found out about his lab. And now, his perfect host, his perfect vessel, was in the hands of Konoha. There was no doubt in his mind that they would see the boy's potential and see what he would be able to do in the future. His perfect vessel there for them to use. But not for long. He will find a way. He will retrieve him. And anyone that stand in his way, they will fall. Time skip. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Mikoto Uchiha shook the hands of Naruto Namikaze, the son of Minato and Kushina, adopted son. It's nice to meet you as well, said Naruto, as he was introduced to the woman in front of him and her husband as well. One of the other DNA branches. They went to the Uchiha clan. A man known as Kage Uchiha. He passed away some time ago. He was a teammate of Hiruzen Sarutobi. That is where they believe that Naruto Red Eyes generated from. Because of the mixed DNA inside of him, some of his potential with certain DNA would be stunted, as they figure that he would never be able to truly awaken the Sharingan. But his eyes have certain traits of the Sharingan. At the moment, they're not sure what fully traits that he could display, but they're sure of it. They had to do some more testing to see how things would be going as he grew and excel. The more he grew, the more they could try to break down and understand every part of him and where the other DNAs generated from. But for now, all they could do was wait. Yes, all they could do was wait at the moment. Naruto also met the 3-year-old Itachi Uchiha. Itachi was 3, 1 year younger than him, and he also possessed an understanding that many kids his age would even come close to gaining such knowledge and understanding of the world around them. Itachi was just different, as both mothers stood there, watching the boys converse while most kids would be playing. Here they were sitting down and just talking to one another. Mikoto was asking Kushina about Naruto and about how she felt. She knew her best friend wanted to have children. However, it seems like fate, it just wasn't there for her in that area. However, mostly it was because of the toxic chakra that has been accumulating in her body, the 9-tailed chakra. That is a big part of the problem that is holding her back in reproducing. She thought that maybe she would never get to understand the joy, the feeling to be a mother. But ever since laying eyes on Naruto, she had this feeling well up inside of her, and they went through the procedure. It's been a month now. Minato himself, he did not know how to react. Yes, he did not. It was hard on him. Strange, mostly. However, both him and Naruto were getting close. She recently saw Naruto up late in the night. She was about to ask him what he was doing until she saw Minato sitting down with him, reading him a book. He couldn't sleep, and Minato was up reading to him. It brought tears of joy to her eyes. She felt so happy watching that. Naruto had knowledge on several things because of the books that he read. However, certain areas, he did not. The first day, he called the both of them mom and dad. Minato was not sure how to react. She felt happy hearing that from him, but Minato was not sure how to react. But now, after a long month, he was happy to hear the boy call him father. Yes, it made him feel like a actual dad. Time skip. As the time passed by, a lot has happened in young Naruto's life. At first, he didn't have parents. The only one who was there was a dark-haired man. Now he found out that the man's name was Orochimaru. He asked about him and his new parents told him about him. And he was a very bad person. Someone that he should stay away from by any means necessary. So that is what he will do. Because he trusts his new mom and dad. They were nice to him. They took care of him. They did not put him through experiments that caused him pain. They were there for him, to read to him, to play with him. His life was a lot better now. He even had a friend. His name was Itachi Uchiha. Itachi was his friend. The both of them thought the same way. Their personalities were similar. And Naruto liked that. They made his birthday the day that he came to them. The day that they adopted him. Naruto had his 5th birthday. Something that he has never experienced before. Many people came there and they were so nice to him. His father was a real big deal, the leader of the whole village. His mother was also a powerful kunoichi as well. She no longer goes on missions though. He also met someone else. He was large, with long spiky white hair. He was Jiraiya. And he was also pretty awesome as well. Just like the old man that had brought him to this village. Hiruzen Sarutobi. He was the 3rd Hokage of this village. Naruto had learned a lot since coming here about the history of the Hokages. Many things. His brain was like a supercomputer. He was able to knowledge and store information in unusual ways. At first he thought that everyone could do that, but it turns out that they could not. His mom said that he was a really special individual. Whenever she says that, it made him pretty happy. As the time went by, Naruto was solidified as their son as it went on. He also had Kakashi there to watch over him. Kakashi was a pretty cool individual. That is when the announcement came. Mikoto, she was pregnant. Yes, Mikoto was pregnant. Naruto was happy to hear that, seeing how happy she was. 2.5 months later though, Naruto heard his mother. She sounded excited. He made his way downstairs. Before he knew it, she spun him in the air, holding him. Dad was not here yet. What's going on? Said Naruto, looking around. Well, Naruto, she said. She was all smiles. You're going to have a baby brother or baby sister. Naruto blinked. Like Itachi? He asked. Yeah, just like Itachi, she said. Turns out his mom was pregnant. This came to the both of them as a surprise. Given the previous problems that they had, it was a rather surprise. She has been feeling a bit queasy for the past week, and she went to the doctor for a checkup, and the doctor confirms it. She was pregnant. This was perfect. Her little baby boy or girl will have an older brother to watch over them. Something that Naruto was happy about. His family was getting larger. Time skip. Naruto was looking down at the small baby. His mother was gonna give birth anytime soon now. Itachi was holding on to the small baby, his younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha. As Naruto waved his hand in front of his face, he opened his little eyes as he was peering around, gazing at his surroundings. He looked up as he placed a hand on Itachi's shoulder. Our little siblings can become best friends like us. Itachi nodded. Naruto was one of the only people that truly understands him. It seems like it did not matter how cryptic or how violent his mind was sometimes when he thought about the world that he lived in. Naruto somehow understand everything that confused and shocked him most times. Well, he was his best friend after all. Time skip. Naruto knew about the Nine Tails. His mom had told him that there were 9 powerful beasts around the world, and she had one of them. The fact that his mom was containing such beasts, she was just more awesome in his eyes. Naruto was a really responsible child, and it was not the first time that they could leave him alone, knowing that he would be perfectly fine. He was now 6 years old. His mother had left with his father. They say that they would be coming back with his younger sibling. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to meet them. So why? Why was he feeling like something was wrong? As he ended up sitting on the couch, the television was on but he was reading. He didn't know when, but he fell asleep. That is when it happened. He heard it. A violent explosion. It rocked the entire house. Naruto got up, rubbing his eyes. The book fell off him as he rushed to the window. Naruto blinked in utter shock. What he saw, his whole body trembled. A massive beast, just like his mom described it. The tails causing chaos as they swing. Naruto started to panic. Where was his mom? His dad? Why was that out? He threw the door open as he rushed outside. People were screaming and running away. Naruto ran. Instead of running away from it, he ran towards it because he knew his parents were out there. If that was free, what did that mean for his mom? He was worried, knowing that it could not be that easy for the beast to be released and something not bad going on. He ran as fast as his tiny legs could take him. He jumped. However, he heard something. He looked up and saw something thrown. Boom! It crashed right next to him. His gaze turned towards it in utter shock and fear. It was a corpse. The eyes wide open, blood leaking from the mouth, the vest ripped apart. Naruto fell on his butt, crawling away. He ran away from it. Meanwhile, Kakashi Hatake landed. As he rushed inside, the door was open. He looked around. He knew that Naruto was home alone today. Damn it. He looked around as he couldn't find him anywhere. Naruto, he shouted, trying to find the boy, but he was not inside. He must have. Damn it. Kakashi ran off, searching the entire place. Naruto could not be alone out in this chaos. He had to find him immediately. Naruto was not sure how long he was running for. However, suddenly, the giant beast vanished. He looked around confused until his gaze focused on the far east. He felt it, that same feeling coming from that location. He ran, running. Unknown to him, he was going through several wooded areas that were blocked off. However, the trees were parting away, allowing him free entry. He ran, he jumped, he ducked, he climbed, running through trees and wood. He was covered in dirt as he fell a couple of times, but he did not stop. The only thing that was on his mind was his family. He was worried for them. Meanwhile, that was going on. Hiruzen Sarutobi banged on the barrier, but he could not enter. Inside of said barrier, Minato Namikaze had tears in his eyes. So did Kushina. As a nail The nail of the fox had drive through the both of them. They were crying for multiple reasons. Minato could not go back and talk to Naruto. He had came across Kakashi and he told him to go and get Naruto somewhere safe immediately. With all the chaos going on, he had to go into the battle immediately. Not to mention the rogue Uchiha that he faced off against, calling himself Madara Uchiha. It was pure chaos. The man was crying. He would never get to see his son again. To think this morning, they were all so happy. And now, tragedy had struck. Damn it, he cursed to himself. But he had no choice. He had none. Minato's eyes were getting blurry as he completed the process. The crying of a newborn could be heard. "Mom! Dad!" Someone shouted out. Hiruzen snapped his head towards the other side. The barrier fell. As Minato saw him, his son rushed into the scene, covered in dirt and blood as well. He had cut himself several times over as he ran. Naruto ran and collapsed face first, but he picked himself up and ran to his mom. Minato's eyes closed. The Reaper seal had taken his soul, and the last thing he saw was his son's teary eyes. Naruto screamed out. His mom grabbed onto him. She was growing weaker as Hiruzen rushed to the scene. Hiruzen came to a stop. He could feel it. He could also see the look in her eyes. She held her hand up, telling him to stop. She wanted this moment with her son. "Mom, you have to get to a doctor," said Naruto. "Naruto, listen to me," she said to him. "I'm not gonna make it." But Naruto started to babble. "Listen, I need you to focus now on what I'm saying." She took a breath as he looked at her, nodding his head. "I want you to take care of your sister. Keep her out of harm's way. Be the big brother that I know that you can be. And make sure that she's protected. And take care of yourself as well. Despite the fact that we're no longer going to be here, know that we'll always love you and care for you as our own," she said, "because you are our son." She leaned forward and kissed him on the forehead. "I love you," she said to him. As she wrapped her arms around him, Naruto relaxed in her embrace. As he could feel her heart, it came to a stop. "Mom? Mom?" He pulled back. There was no light in her eyes. Naruto held on to her. He screamed. A blood-curdling scream that startled the Anvus. More so, a violent, golden chakra exploded out of him. It washed over everything. Every ounce of the village. It spread through every crook, every area. It scoured the entire village. Massive roots exploded out of the earth. Hiruzen and the others watched in awe as the roots shot up into the sky, creating giant trees. The more he screamed, the taller they went. As he screamed and screamed and screamed, the golden chakra then started to spasm, lightning, shocking and tearing the ground apart. All of them had to duck for cover to think that one 6-year-old child is capable of something like this. It was beyond shocking. It eventually died down. Hiruzen was in awe at what had just taken place. Despite the sad affair, his gaze focused towards Naruto, who was holding the tiny little girl in his arms. She had a patch of red hair on her head, blue eyes, as she reached up towards his face. He brought her closer so that she could touch his face. "Shh, don't worry," he said. "Your big brother is here, and I won't let anything happen to you," he said, looking down at her. Time skip. Naruto was standing in the living room. His baby sister was leaning against his chest. As he walked around the couch, she liked the movement. It has been 2 months since his parents' unfortunate death. It has been rough, horribly so. Yes, tremendously so. He needed help. Of course he would. He had no knowledge on how to take care of a baby. He was a child himself, so yes, it was a lot. Fortunately though, Hiruzen Sarutobi had brought over someone. Her name was Nina Sarutobi. Nina came over and took care of his sister, making sure that she was properly fed, making sure that she was okay. She was there for the most of the time. There was also an Anvu on 24/7 watch. They usually switch out to give the other a break. So yes, he was always on watch. They were always there. One Anvu just in case anything happened. Naruto had made sure that his sister was right beside him as he moved the crib into his room. His baby sister, Mito. Mito Namikaze. It was no secret that Naruto was the son of Minato and most who had seen Naruto outside with his baby sister in his hand. Rumors spread around the village. Rumors also came out that the Ninetales was inside of a child, a red-headed young girl. Who will leak those rumors were still unknown. However, it was also leaked that that girl was the daughter of Minato Namikaze. Hiruzen had to give a speech to the people, saying that Minato, a seal master, has sealed the Ninetales inside of his only daughter in order to keep all of them safe. Yes, he sealed the beast in his only daughter to make sure that they all were safe. Many people knew that they wouldn't have what it takes to go through with such an affair. So hearing that, it was a lot because many had lost so much, and knowing that the beast was still with them. Yes, there was a lot of anger there, but many respected the Hokage enough to hear bye to his wishes. But some despite their respect for the man, they were still angry. They lost so much. And to know that the beast was still with them, they would not physically act against the child, of course, but there was a lot of hatred brewing inside of them. The moment this had happened, Mikoto had tried to adopt Naruto and Mito. However, things were not in her favor. The reason, many saw the beast's eyes. Many said that the beast was being controlled by a Sharingan. Thus, the Uchiha clan was put under great scrutiny because of it. She could adopt Naruto, but, well, Naruto would not leave his sister's side if he was going somewhere his sister was going. So all in all, it was bad. But Mikoto did came by many times to check upon him. Itachi also came by as well, and he could feel the deep depression that his friend was in, as he tried to be there for him as a friend. Jiraiya took a couple of weeks to arrive to the village. The man seemed to be depressed to hear about their death. However, he had a role in all of this. He was the children's godfather, yet he was allowing his sadness to contradict his actions by not staying for too long. Naruto found that rather upsetting, but he did not focus on that, nor anything else. The only thing he focused on was his sister and training. He realized that he needed to be strong. He needed to be as strong as possible in order to protect his sister, but he was still worried about her. When the Hokage brought up the academy affair, Naruto didn't really know because he didn't want to leave his sister's side. However, the female Sarutobi was there. She promised that she will not let his sister out of her sight, and she would keep her safe. Naruto placed his trust in that woman because he needed to get stronger by any means necessary. The whole affair had darkened his personality a bit as well. He never had anything in the beginning until that sweet, wonderful woman that he called a mom came in his life, and his dad. And then he had a family, and yet everything was taken away. Everything was gone. He heard the rumors he heard that the Uchihas were suspected to be a part of the attack. He asked Itachi what he thought of that. Itachi told him that all of the Uchihas were accounted for, that they were all situated away from the populace, so there was no way that that was possible, not to mention the mental fortitude that you have to control a beast like the Nine Tails. Itachi doubted that he was anyone from his clan. Yet, rumors and paranoia started to spread. More and more people started to see them as the enemy. Over the month that passed, Naruto had met with multiple people that came to pay their condolence. He hated the fact that they looked at him with pity. He did not like that. He didn't know why. He just did not like it. However, today was a special day. As Naruto made his way, beside him was none other than Itachi. As they walked, they were heading to the academy. They finally arrived. Yesterday was the introduction day. Naruto did not have anyone to be there for him, but Mikoto stepped up. She stood behind him and Itachi as well, showing that she was there to represent them both. Naruto was glad for that. He was happy that she was there for him. He missed his mom. He missed his dad every single night, but he had to be strong for Mito. He just had to. Naruto had been studying several of his father's scrolls, fighting scrolls to be quite exact. Everything in his father and mother name was left for him. He was in control of their assets, which Hiruzen was keeping tracks on for him, to make sure that no one could get their grubby hands on his inheritance by trying to use some loophole. As they arrived in the class, both of the boys went to sit up at the back. There was a lot of girls their age looking at them. Naruto was not paying them any mind, and Itachi did not look their way either. The both of them, with their standoff attitude, caused the girls to crush on them rather hard. The teachers wanted to see the skill level of the students, given that this was their first day, so they could test them again at the end of this year's semester. Their sensei was a man known as Toji Nakamaru. As he had all of them gather up, "Alright," he said, "we just want to see how you're able to handle yourself in a normal sparring. No excessive attacks if you've been previously trained from a clan or something. We just want to see how much you are able to handle at the moment." He started to list out the students. Itachi's name was called as he made his way there. A boy with green eyes, dark hair and a smirk on his face, rubbed his nose. "I don't know what's the big deal about you," he said. "I mean, look at them," he said, pointing towards the girls. Itachi glanced over his shoulder to see many of them waving at him. He cracked his knuckles. "But I'm gonna show them that you're not anything special." So with that, the teacher told them to begin. Toji watched. Itachi put a foot forward and leaned a foot back. The green-eyed boy dashed forward. Itachi waited for him until he grabbed his wrist and flipped him rather easily. All the girls applauding cheers as they were so excited. Itachi placed a feet right at his throat. He was done as Toji called the match. A few more matches went on until Naruto's name was called as he made his way up there. A boy twice his size. He was big for someone that was 6 years old. "Don't worry," he said. "I won't hurt you too badly." Naruto ignored him as he looked at the boy. "Hey, didn't you hear me? Why aren't you whimpering in fear?" he asked. "Go, Naruto! Kick his ass!" many of the girls shouted. They knew his name because of the introduction, and his name was just called a moment ago. The boy looked over with anger hearing that. "Tch, so what? You believe just because they say you can kick my ass?" Despite the fact that Naruto had not responded to him, he was still mouthing off. The moment Toji's head began, he moved forward. As the boy was running, as Naruto was looking at him, his movements were coming in slow motion. Naruto leaped. Given the boy's size, he used it against him as he wrapped his foot around his throat. He then reached back and grabbed the back of the boy's shirt and yanked him down and flipped him so that he fell on his face. Naruto's feet tightened around his throat. The boy started to slap the ground rather hard, begging to be released. Toji rushed over and told Naruto to stop it. As Naruto got up, the moment he did, the girl screamed so loud that many people had to cover their ears. His mom had taught him a few things while they were home, especially how to use an opponent's size against him. So yes, he was not defenseless, not in the slightest. Later that day, as Naruto made his way home, he was in a hurry. He didn't like to be away from his sister for long periods of time. He didn't know why, but he just knew that he had to be the one to protect her. As he arrived, he saw the Sarutobi holding his baby sister, walking around the living room. She handed her over rather immediately, seeing the look that Naruto had. The pure joy of happiness radiating from him. The baby also giggled in his arms. She seemed to already recognize her brother feeling. The woman stood there with a smile on her face. She knew that some people were still upset about the Ninetales being alive and stored inside of this child. But she did not see it that way though. This was just an innocent child that was doing them all a favor. She knew Kushina, a rather nice woman, so she knew that this child was doing the same that Kushina did for all of them, holding back the Ninetales. So she had no problem taking care of her and making sure that she was safe. Time skip. Itachi Uchiha leaped out of a few trees. In mid-air he launched 3 sets of kunais. The first 2 bent in mid-air, curving toward his opponent, while the one in the center went straight forward. The person was stuck right in the center, however. He stood there unfazed. He whipped out a kunai of his own. He threw it to deflect the first one. He then jumped. The first one that was going to pierce him clashed down to the ground, while the other 2 ricocheted off each other as he spun. He then landed. The moment he did, Itachi was in front of him, his foot blazing through the sky. He slapped Itachi's feet down. Itachi's right foot planted in the ground, causing his left one to spring upwards. The person braced himself as he was knocked back a few feet. Itachi used the momentum to drop on his hand and lashed out with both of his legs. The person leaned away before he rolled to the side and clashed, throwing a kick to the Uchiha's face. However, Itachi blocked it with his right arm. The both of them went crazy in taijutsu, clashing against each other until they separated. Itachi brought his hand up as he started to go through hand sign. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, he said, releasing a miniature fireball toward his opponent. His opponent went through one hand sign and sunshine away. He appeared behind Itachi and he swiped. However, Itachi ducked. Upon doing so, he came back up with an uppercut, knocking the person off his feet until, poof, the person went up in smoke. Itachi looked down as he jumped away. A large vine almost grabbed his leg. He looked around in mid-air as the vine was going back down until the vine poofed away, revealing Naruto, who grabbed his leg and brought him down. Itachi slammed into the ground as Naruto stepped over him and placed a kunai to his throat. The Uchiha already had a kunai out, but Naruto grabbed his wrist with his right hand. His 2 eyes then curved up into an eye smile, similar to one Kakashi Hatake, as he released the kunai and held out a hand, pulling Itachi back to his feet. You thought that was a normal vine, didn't you? Have to say, you caught me off guard with that one. Your transitions are becoming much more smooth, Itachi said. So what is it now? 10-9? Said Naruto. Yes, he threw his arms up. I finally broke that damn tie, and now I am on the top. Well, until next time. And what if I win again, Naruto said. Maybe in your dreams. We'll see about that, Naruto said, when he suddenly looked to the side. What's wrong? Itachi asked. My clone at the academy just dispelled. Itachi felt his dispel as well. Seems like we got into a fight. Damn it. This is not good. The both of them said at the same time. Time skip. I recommend that Itachi Uchiha and Naruto Namikaze graduate this year. Already? Hiruzen Sarutobi said. Didn't they just start the academy? Yes, sir. But their marks in all the practical tests is 100%. And recently, I was able to discover that they've been sending shadow clones to school to take their class the entire time. Shadow clones? Homura said. The both of them. Yes, that's correct. Well, these children are truly interesting. To be doing that for the whole day. I'm impressed, Koharu said. But isn't it a bit too soon? Hiruzen spoke up. Of course not. Danzo Shimura spoke. Both of those boys are gifted, and they have great potential. Why waste it and let them stay in the academy for another year? Allowing them to graduate is the best thing. They can gain more battle experience and field experience in the outside world. Holding them back would just do them more harm than good. As Harrison glanced towards Danzo, who spoke, knowing that the man must see an ulterior motive for allowing the two boys to graduate so early, given the fact that they were no longer in wartime. However, given these two boys' potential, Harrison did not want to waste it in the slightest. Itachi has already been shown to be a prodigy about Naruto. He was something else entirely. The child was gifted beyond every doubt. However, Harrison feared Orochimaru coming after him. That is one of the other reasons why he had his people constantly watching Naruto to make sure that he was safe. There was no doubt that Orochimaru believed that it was time now to strike, given the fact that Minato was not here anymore. But he wouldn't allow that. He wouldn't allow Orochimaru to kidnap the child for his own nefarious purpose. He wouldn't allow that to happen. He had a plan though, which will work out good for the both of them. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other series. So yeah, without further ado, I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.